everybody. Welcome to another Facebook Live with Flow Living. I'm Elisa Vitti, founder of the Flow Living Hormone Center, author of Woman Code, and the creator of the My Flow period tracking and cycle syncing app. And I come to you every Thursday to talk about how to live healthier in a woman's body. And we try to pick the most relevant, juicy information that you might need to, deal with whatever you're struggling with. So today's topic, of course, is why you really have PMS and what to do about it. Hey, ladies that are just joining. Hey, Christine. Hey, Danielle. Let me know that you're here, where you're tuning in from, and what your situation with PMS is. And while you're telling me that, I'm going to tell you about a new product that I just tried that I'm currently having on myself that I absolutely love. I should have brought it with me to show. But, listen, for those of you who have curly hair, the struggle is real to find a product that is non-chemical to do your curls, and I found one. I mean, I've tried so many of the natural gels over the years, and there was one recently that I found that I liked. It's by the Everyone brand. It's like I forget the name of it. I have it in the bathroom. Anyway, it's just one of their, they have several gels, but this hair gel was the one that had no chemicals in it. And it's good. It's just a little drying after you use it on because with curly hair you only wash it a couple times a week. So if you keep reapplying the gel, it kind of just gets a little. I didn't love the multiple use, but anyway, the search continued, and I just used it last night. I'm it's in my hair. I'm loving it. The curls are soft. It's called Inner Sense, and I found it on credobeauty.com, and it's called their volumizing foam, I think, because it looks like mousse, which was weird, but it's great. I am thrilled there, and there's absolutely nothing in that ingredient list that I think is problematic. So if any of you have curls and you're looking for a product that can help you with your curls that does not compromise your desire to live a healthy, hormonally healthy life, I would give that a try. That's the first time I've mentioned any product for curls, because they're usually disappointing. So I'm happy to share that with you. Hey, Caroline from Quebec, so much love back to you. I got engaged in Montreal. I think that's in Quebec. Let's see. Hey, Vlada from LA, Marilena from Greece. That is awesome. I love how we have just such a grand flow sisterhood everywhere around the world. Okay, so I want to know what your PMS is like. Is it intense? What does it entail? What's going on with your PMS? What's your biggest pain point with your PMS? Hey, Kate from Toronto. Yeah. Yes, two cities near each other. That's what I thought. Forgive my little brain slip there. So tell me about your PMS, ladies. Type it into me. I want to know so I can make sure to tackle all the talking points that we need today. But what is your particular situation with PMS? Hey, Stella, what is your particular problem lately with your PMS? So moody, says Jennifer. And then, of course, there is the constipation and painful, I think that's boobs, BBS. Tiffany, crying, lots and lots of crying. Katie, headaches, sometimes bloating. Ah, thank you, Caroline. That is why I get confused. I don't really know what the difference is between a metropole and a capital. Okay. Stella gets bloated and depressed. Kate, exhaustion. Jennifer saying yes, it was the boobs. PMS feels emotional. You get bad moods. You feel like a different person. And can you just cut and paste the part after and Vlada? And Stella saying also exhaustion. Zits on your shoulders, neck, and back. Bloating and constipation from Tiffany. Christine, moody, angry, weepy. Marilena, breakouts, bloating, constipation, don't want to leave the house. And I'm curious, how many days are you experiencing these kind of extreme symptoms? Oh, Romina, your mood's definitely improved since cycle syncing supplements. Of course it has. Okay, but you have extreme exhaustion, migraine for 3 to 4 consecutive days, lots of bloating and cravings. The 3 to 4 days right before the bleed starts? This would be when progesterone and estrogen could be at their bigger dip, but we'll talk about that in a second. Oh, Vlada, and you're mean to your husband and you can't help it. Okay. Ursula, overactive intestines, breakouts, exhaustion, achiness, cramps so severe. Oh my goodness. And this is before the bleed starts, Erin? Starts at the beginning of your luteal phase, lasts for a couple of days. That's interesting, Christine. So if it, right after ovulation, you start having these symptoms and then they go away? That's interesting. Katie Hedges, your chronic PMS is gone, got to grips with estrogen excess, and got your body to ovulate. And if you can just put this, whatever that second half is, Katie, I'd love to read the rest of it. Oh, I see. Thanks, Carolyn. Giving me an education on some French terminology. Okay. Romina, just cut and paste the second half of that statement after the word before. So the migraine doesn't stop until you get your period, and it starts the 3 to 4 days before your bleed. Okay. Okay. Right at the Erin. Hold on, wait, I'm trying to go back to see what this was. Erin. Cramps, right. And that's, Erin is right at the beginning. So like literally the day of your bleed or the day before, that's how it starts. Okay. Interesting. Interesting, ladies. Very interesting. Big cramps on the first day. All right, so let's tackle all this. Romina, this migraine situation, very, very, very interesting. Seems like it's a little bit out of the scope of PMS if it's happening throughout the cycle at different points. So I might suggest that, we set up a consultation for you just to sort of troubleshoot this migraine situation, because it can be triggered by fluctuations in estrogen, but there may be some, my intuition is that there might be something else going on with that. Hey Jade, we are talking about PMS and what your PMS situation is. So if you've got some PMS, let me know. That's what we're talking about today, and what to do about it, obviously, and how to make it a thing of the past. So, okay. Listen, I promise that today we're going to be talking about what is the one reason why you have PMS, right? Okay, hold on. Okay, Shaima, I just wanted to read your comment. I'm like, hold on, everybody. Someone's throwing up. Okay, yes, that happens. That is a part of a vasovagal response. Sometimes that happens when the uterus begins to contract. That's also a little separate, but we'll try to talk about that today too. Okay, so there's one reason that you're all having PMS, and you may all see that you have slightly different symptoms. That just has to do with your particular body's level of ability to eliminate toxins and hormones, how efficient your body is at doing that, your current dietary patterns and sleep and all of that. But there is one reason why everybody who's typing has PMS, and if I were to have it, this is why I would have it. Anybody would have PMS for just this one reason, and that's what I want you to know today. The one reason why you're having PMS is too much estrogen, not enough progesterone, right? During the luteal phase, right, you have a surge in estrogen and progesterone. They peak at the mid-luteal phase, and then they start to taper. And when they reach their sort of lowest concentration, that signals the lining of the uterus to shed, right? Now, if you don't make enough progesterone in relation to estrogen, you are going to have 10 to 12 days feel terrible. You're going to have all the symptoms that are stereotypically associated with PMS, like mood swings, headaches, bloating, breast tenderness, skin issues, fatigue, brain fog, massive irritability, mood swings. It's miserable. So I think it's really important to know that, one, you want to know that first and foremost, you can absolutely always manipulate the levels of progesterone in your body. And two, you've got to be tracking. So here's a great example. You know, it's me. I'm the creator of the cycle syncing method. I track my period on the MyFlow app. September, I've been talking about this since September because it's the most recent, biggest hormonal transition that I've had since childbirth. 4 years ago, there was just like a perfect storm of stressful things that happened in September, with my daughter starting a new school, with my husband getting sick, he's fine now, with childcare just evaporating for a whole month, and you know, a couple things going on at Flow Living that required a lot of my attention. So I was under an enormous amount of stress, unexpectedly, physical and emotional and psychological stress. And it really impacted me. As good as I was being, it really impacted me. And I'm recovering now from that stress. I have changed my diet even more. And I've taken on some adaptogens in the short term on top of the supplements that the Flow supplements that I take. And I'm helping my nervous system recover from that stress. So I was fully expecting to see some PMS from the stress, because why would that be the case? If stress happened, why should I expect some PMS? Well, when you have a lot of adrenaline going because there's stress happening, your body secretes cortisol to be the antidote to all of that adrenaline. But over time, as your body, you know, as your nervous system is requesting more and more cortisol, you become less efficient at making it. And your body, by necessity, if there's still adrenaline output, will start to steal progesterone, right? Because it's molecularly similar to cortisol, and your luteal phase will become a little bit imbalanced again in that ratio between estrogen and progesterone. So that's one of the reasons why, for example, you know, you can end up with an imbalance in your estrogen and progesterone. You can become imbalanced in that because you're nutrient deficient. You can become imbalanced because you have a long-standing pre-existing condition like PCOS, fibroids, endometriosis, etc., or because you've had a history of taking birth control. You know, how do you end up with not enough progesterone? It shouldn't be the case that women are not making enough progesterone in their younger years. Now, the other thing I want you to consider is where you are in your lifespan. So, are you in your 20s? Are you in your 30s? Are you in your 40s? Because there's going to be slightly different things that you do depending on where you're at, right? So if you're in your 20s and 30s, you know, you should be able to, you know, quickly recover your progesterone production with simple food and lifestyle changes. If you're in your postpartum years, you're in your 40s, you're starting to feel like all of your PMS is solely mood-based, right? Everybody's telling me their age. I love this group. None of us are bashful. Then you might want to add some adaptogens to help your body respond to stress, because motherhood is taxing, and you become less and less efficient at responding to stress over the years, especially as things accumulate. There's like always something in life and with family and all of that. So you may need some adaptogens on top of supplements to help you with stress. So Heather, yeah, you're 42 with horrible mood swings. That's a progesterone insufficiency problem. Like by the way, what was my symptom of PMS? That I was expecting some PMS after September, and so I was like really curious about what my October period was going to be like. And I mean, the mood swing that I had in October was like, it was really funny to see it again. It's been a while. So I was like, okay, well, here it is. Clearly September was very stressful. I need to double down, more supplements, more, rest, more meditation, less intense exercise. I really needed to treat myself with even more support. But I had like that very, very intense mood swing where I just was so upset about everything, irritable. And it's so common when there's not enough progesterone. And we talked about that in several different blogs on the site about how it affects your brain's ability to, estrogen and progesterone impact your GABA utilization in the brain, and so how quickly you're going to burn through serotonin. And of course, that's sort of a mood stabilizing neurotransmitter. So there's a interplay between your hormones and your brain chemistry, and that's where the mood piece comes in. Everything else, if you're in your 20s and 30s and you're having these other more physical symptoms like the breast tenderness, the acne in various parts of your body, the bloating's, I would sort of put that as a separate issue, but let's talk about like acne and breast tenderness and that kind of stuff. Headaches, all of this has to do with again, your body's inability to break down all of that excess estrogen. So it's coming out, it's overstimulating the skin. So someone's saying they can't hear me. Anybody else having problems hearing me? I'm happy to move the microphone, but so the idea is that, once you start cycle syncing your diet, right, you're going to be actually, and this is ideal to do in your 20s and 30s, you're going to be eating foods during the ovulatory phase that's really going to ensure that your body is able to break down all of that excess estrogen, because you're going to be feeding it liver supportive foods during the ovulation phase. And then you're going to be changing your diet again in the luteal phase to really support you. And that's the other thing that we get wrong in our PMS week, right? I talk about this, any chance I get, but the gender bias in research around nutrition and fitness does not do women any favors, because all of this research is being done on men and postmenopausal women for the most part, but yet these new standards of health, right, are promoted universally when they can be very detrimental if you're in your cycling years. So some of you guys are talking about, oh yeah, I love that working out less is a solution to PMS. If you follow the cycle syncing protocol, if you use the MyFlow app, you'll know that in the luteal phase, you have to stop doing high intensity interval training, because what does that do? It jacks up your cortisol. It turns on muscle wasting, and it turns on fat storage, and it's not going to help you with your PMS. So you got to do different kinds of activities during your luteal phase. And if you're under extreme stress, really you kind of want to give yourself the whole month to just go on big walks. Walking is good every phase of the cycle, but if you wanted to do anything in addition in the luteal phase, you can check out the MyFlow app to get more exercise recommendations. And of course, I hope you all know about the Flow 28 cycle syncing membership, the community. We have like 1,000 women in our little private group, and we're all cycle syncing together. There are fitness videos and recipes. It's really fun. We're all living the lifestyle together and sharing our best practices together. So if you're interested in that, there's a wait list. You can email support@FlowLiving and just put Flow 28 waitlist in the subject line, and we'll let you know when the next opportunity to join. Yeah, Kate is saying, yeah, you used to do so much high intensity interval training, your cycles are a mess. Yeah, it really can start to impact your cycle. So yeah, some of you guys are talking about adaptogens. Absolutely, they can be helpful when you're dealing with a lot of stress. So much of our PMS, you know, let me back up to even say this in a different way. That PMS, I think, should be renamed as prioritizing myself. Because whatever you haven't done to prioritize yourself is going to come knocking on your door during the luteal phase. It's like how well you do during the luteal phase is the answer to the question of, am I taking care of myself in the right way? If you're not having PMS, which is what should be happening, then your self-care game is working. If you are having PMS, then it's not like, oh God, you know, now my body is betraying me. It's, oh, I didn't prioritize myself enough for the past couple weeks, which was certainly the case in September for me. I had to prioritize everything else. And, you know, in October and November, it was like the past 6 weeks, it's just been prioritizing myself. That is what I have been doing. So that is the idea, that you would turn up the volume on your self-care. That's, I mean, even the foods that you eat during the luteal phase that are nutritionally relevant for your hormonal ratio at that time are more calorie dense, more calories in general. You need more calories during the luteal phase. I was just asked by some media outlet, why do we need more calories during the luteal phase? Well, to make enough progesterone, you actually need more calories, more carbohydrates. So all of this like fad dieting and living on salads, it's like making your PMS worse. It's making you sick and crazy. It's not it's not relevant for you if you are in your cycling years. So I want you to definitely be thinking about you know, how can you nourish yourself? How can you prioritize yourself? You know, I'm in my luteal phase. Before I got on with you today, I had a big bowl of brown rice pasta with some soy sauce and sesame oil and a whole bunch of chopped up broccoli, carrot slaw, and cauliflower and extra broccoli and a whole avocado, and I'm feeling good, you know? I had a big walk this morning. Yeah, yes, no sugar, right? No sugar, none of that's nonsense. But really deeply nourishing foods, right? And giving yourself permission to eat as much as you need to feel full. What about, you know, intermittent fasting? What about all this other stuff? You know, don't worry about it. Trust me, if you eat for your progesterone, you're gonna feel great, because the idea, yeah, low sodium, yep, a little bit of low sodium soy sauce. For me right now, that makes sense. Might not make sense for everybody. In their luteal phase, you can use coconut aminos, you know, all of that stuff. What about fruits? I have my fruits typically in the morning. And, you know, I try not to eat too many fruits, you know, during the day if I can help it. If I have some, you know, my metabolism is changing, so I'm experimenting with when to have fruit, but sometimes I'll have that as an afternoon snack, and I choose, yeah, Kate, go have a sweet potato. Ivy, can you can you cut and paste the part that's after IE? And you're asking how come there are so many women with perfect skin and no PMS or issues who don't follow this. I'm assuming you're saying cycle syncing or the protocol. That probably has to do with the fact that they are either on some sort of birth control potentially, so many women are, or because they are genetically really lucky and they are making enough of the enzyme in their liver to metabolize estrogen. Some people are, but that's not the vast majority of women, right? Nature's a bell curve. I always say that there are my unicorn bleeders on one end of the bell. They have easy periods, no problems. Shaima saying they're strange creatures, right? And then on the other side, there are people who have extremely difficult, extremely complex, massively problematic periods. Lena Dunham is on the other extreme of the bell curve. But the vast majority of us are in the middle of the bell, and we're struggling with, skin issues and PMS issues. It's more, the majority of women are struggling. Ivy, I think I used to think that too when I was at the beginning. I was like, why does everybody else get to eat pizza and cheese and gluten, and why is it just me? And I learned over the past 20 years that it's seriously not just me, and there are just millions and millions of women around the world who are struggling with this, because it is just not easy now to because of our environment, all the chemicals in our environment and the stuff we have put into our food system, for our hormones to work the way that they should. And so it's totally not fair, but it is what it is. And so you have to decide that you're going to show up for yourself and make yourself feel better, because we just cannot wait for everything else to get cleaned up. Although with all these new women elected to the, at least in the United States, to public office, maybe they'll start to bring some of this much needed agenda forward, keeping chemicals out of our food. Like, people in Europe have been on top of this for so much, they're just on top of it. There are 3,000 chemicals banned in makeup products alone in the EU or in Europe. Here, only 37 products are banned. Chemicals. WTF, people? We should just do what the EU is doing over here. And then, of course, they're equally progressive in Europe around what chemicals are allowed to be used in food agriculture. And here in this country, somebody just mentioned glyphosate. Yeah, people's urine output of glyphosate is through the roof for the most part. It's crazy. So if, Ivy, to your question, why do we have to, take care of ourselves in a way that maybe women 2 to 4 generations ago didn't have to do it? Because it is hard out there for ovaries these days. It is really not an easy situation. I remember years ago, I saw a pretty depressing movie, which I wouldn't recommend watching because it was pretty depressing, called Children of Men. I forget the actors that are in it, some major actors. I'm not good with their names. But essentially the movie was about how at some not so distant future, women and men spontaneously lost the ability to reproduce because of the pollution and the chemicals, and nobody was ever able to have babies, and it was just all that was it. And I was with the fertility crisis we have on hand, with the millions of women around the world who are struggling just to have a normal, healthy cycle, that's not necessarily some total sci-fi fiction. It could be a reality if we're not careful. So anyway, it's a little hard and heavy, but oh, interesting, Katie. They put fluoride in the UK water, but not in Belgium. I think it's a really interesting time. We're in a time dare I say, kind of like the Renaissance, where a lot of research is coming out that's questioning a lot of the way things have been done. And our ability to, people are just going to be experimenting, and eventually it'll hopefully change culture, and move us forward definitively. But yeah, we're in this weird, people are still questioning the science. Obviously there's climate change. but Galileo said the world wasn't flat, and then it took a while for people to get it. So we're potentially in a similar time if I draw some parallels, and that's both frustrating and exciting because at least change is afoot. But in the meantime, you're getting woke over here, you're connected to the flow universe over here, and you got to just take care of yourself while all this change is happening, and it's important to do that. So what can we do to address PMS? I wanted to talk about supplements that I think are really critical because, when you are dealing with all the stress, all the whatever dieting history you have, the over-exercising, hey, just even drinking coffee, chances are good. One of the key things that we talked about, how progesterone becomes deficient in the luteal phase, is micronutrient insufficiency. So one of the first things you can do while you're changing your diet, while you're changing up your exercise, is you can start to beef up your micronutrients. So for example, with bloating, magnesium, if you're bloated, you have two things going on. A gut microbiome problem, which is going to feed your PMS because now your estrobolome, a particular set of bacterial genes that help metabolize estrogen, are not working, and you're going to get bloated, intestinally. You're going to feel gassy. But if you feel bloated like you're retaining water and you've gained a pant size, that's a magnesium deficiency. So you need a probiotic and to help with your estrogen metabolism, and you need magnesium to help you maintain the right electrolytic balance in the body so you're not retaining water. Magnesium also helps with headaches that are associated with PMS. Magnesium glycinate, Christine, is the form that you should use because it's just very absorbed into the body quickly. You can take a lot more of it, and it has no laxative effect on the intestines, which is a big problem with a lot of the citrate forms. It'll also help you with constipation without it being a laxative, right? And for those of you who are experiencing constipation, that also has to do with the effects of estrogen and progesterone on transit time in the colon. And if you're eating according to the luteal phase foods, according to cycle syncing, you are absolutely going to be having adequate amounts of fiber to get your colon, your intestines to be moving the way that they should. Vitamin B6 helps your body make more progesterone. You have to have it. So critical. And then omega-3 fatty acids for mood, right? And energy levels, whether you do that as a fish oil or a vegan oil. Barlean's makes a really nice vegan combination oil for omega-3s. Vitamin D3 is actually acts as a master hormone in the body. So you have to make sure you're getting enough vitamin D3. Women who are deficient in vitamin D3 are at risk for a whole host of things, diseases, beyond just PMS, including things like breast cancer. So it's real important that you supplement with vitamin D3, especially as now we're heading into the winter season where your face might be the only thing that's seeing the sun for a long time. And since vitamin D3 is manufactured via sun exposure, via the skin, it's hard to get enough. Vitamin E is a micronutrient that specifically helps with breast tenderness. It actually acts as an antioxidant, protecting the breast tissue from inflammation. How cool is that? Vitamin C and alpha lipoic acid are micronutrients that the liver stores in its tissue to have on hand when it wants to go through the different phases of detoxification that allow it to take estrogen and metabolize it. So you actually need to feed your liver certain micronutrients in order for it to do its job. Remember, liver used to be regarded as nature's multivitamin because it actually stores so many of the micronutrients that come through your food in its tissues, in its tissue itself, for this reason of its different different phases of detoxification. So it's really, really an interesting thing. Kate is asking a question about what 3 foods should I eat today in your luteal phase to be most beneficial? sweet potato, cooked kale, and an avocado. Additional supplements to help you with PMS would be Vitex, especially if you are coming off the pill, you're coming into your early 40s, you're going through a transition, you're trying to heal from, you know, PCOS, things of that nature. Vitex can be a really fantastic herb. Or if you just feel like, you know, your mood swings are really intense, Vitex, so fantastic. It indirectly helps the pituitary gland make more progesterone. So by increasing, you know, luteinizing hormone. Marilena, Vitex in tea? No, you would want to take it in a standardized pill format. I love Gaia herbals. They're just excellent. Jade, you're saying Vitex is not good for PCOS? No, not necessarily. It just depends on your situation. Vitex is an adaptogen. What helps with insomnia during the luteal phase? Magnesium. Vitex is also called chasteberry. Does a prenatal food base like Rainbow or Chapter have enough of these vitamins? No, in fact, prenatals have to have, well, good prenatals don't have excessive amounts of micronutrients, or what we'll call a therapeutic dose, because they're not necessarily safe for the fetus. So you want to, if you're no longer anywhere near being, you know, pregnancy or breastfeeding, you want to move into, you know, supplements that are beyond the prenatal dose into a therapeutic dose. Caroline, if you break out just before ovulation, that's estrogen overload, and you want to eat the foods for ovulation as well. Evening primrose oil is a very excellent, well-researched adaptogen for hormone balance. It can help with cramps, headaches in the luteal phase, and dong quai is another, not really universally applicable, but for those of you who struggle with the vasovagal response, the extreme cramping, the vomiting, that kind of a thing, I would definitely encourage you to try some dong quai. It can be very, very helpful to relax the muscles of the uterus. So that's what I would do with that. Now, obviously, you know, because I'm such a proponent of micronutrient therapy as part of biohacking, as part of maintaining your hormonal balance, and because I was frustrated in the marketplace that there were so many supplements that did not, you know, that weren't clean, you know, that didn't have all the fillers, magnesium stearates, the other stuff, and that I was looking for formulations that, you know, matched the research around what were the non-negotiable micronutrients that an endocrine system needs for women, I formulated my own. So we have Harmonize, which is the omega-3 D3 blend. And by the way, I made sure there was K1 and K2 in there to get rid of cramps. Okay. We have Detox, which is really more like liver food. It has the vitamin C, the alpha lipoic acid, and all sorts of other things to feed your liver so you can break down more estrogen. Gutsy, the probiotic that actually makes it past the stomach acid and to get to your small intestine. Energize, the B vitamins, the B6, the everything at a therapeutic dose to make sure that you have enough of these essential micronutrients. And of course, Replenish, which is the magnesium glycinate that I talked about, that is just so critical. So these are the 5. That's why I don't sell them separately, because you need all of this. This is what I take every day. And like I said, I've been adding in some other things now, some adaptogens, which are herbs on top of my supplements, to just help me, you know, respond to the September situation. But this is a great place to make sure that you don't get yourself into that PMS hole. And by the way, we're coming up on the holidays, which means like more stress, more stuff to do, less time to prioritize yourself. And so I wanted to make sure that you have what you need. Do we ship to New Zealand? There is a way for you to get your products internationally. So if you simply email support@FlowLiving with international shipping request, our team can take care of you and hook you up, which is very exciting. So just make sure you put international shipping request in the subject line and just email support@FlowLiving. And for those of you who are interested in trying out the supplements to deal with your PMS, of course, I always want to celebrate your taking action. And we have a Banish Your PMS bonus package with purchase. So you buy the supplements, email support@flowliving.com with a screenshot of your receipt, and you're going to get a bunch of things. You're going to get the 4 hormone healing smoothie recipes that I love, that I created to banish your PMS sugar cravings, to lift your energy without coffee, to heat up your sex drive, to boost your fertility. It's good stuff. Then you're going to get my Banish Your PMS for Good masterclass. Really getting more nitty gritty than we did today, and all the things that are possible for you to do naturally with your PMS, and how to even prioritize different kinds of self-care in each phase of the cycle that help you get to a place where you're not crashing. And you're also going to get your Happiness is in Your Hormones masterclass, because I know the mood swings, it's our most popular masterclass. Why your moods shift during the different phases of your cycle, what's normal, what's not, how adrenal fatigue is a component, what to do, how to balance serotonin and dopamine naturally. It's a really phenomenal class. And then, because Thanksgiving, at least for those of us who live in the United States, are around the corner, and holidays around the world are starting to happen, I've included what I call Sex, Turkey, and the Extra 5 Pounds masterclass, right? How to make sure that the holidays don't really set you further back. Because if you're already feeling this kind of PMS now, and you go into the holidays without the right support, not only you're going to gain the weight that you always seem to gain this time of the year, but you're going to lose your sex drive, and your PMS is going to get worse. And it's like, why do that to yourself? So I would definitely recommend that you guys take advantage of the Banish Your PMS offer. You can order the supplements at flowliving.com/supplements, and then just email support@flowliving with your receipt, and they will email you all of the bonuses immediately, which is just my gift to you, my pleasure to share. Some of you are asking some more questions. Stephanie wants to know, do I use essential oils? Absolutely, but not for hormone balance per se, just because I love them. I definitely use them during the cold and flu season all around my home. In fact, my daughter just had little sniffles this past week, so instead of diffusing the oils in the room, because it's dark and we don't have it set up where I can do that easily, I just put some lavender and eucalyptus on a little cloth and put that by the bed so she could have that, essential oil. And she's like, wow, this really helps, Mommy. And I love teaching her already at, she's 4, about food as medicine and plant medicine. It's our favorite phrase. So she, over the weekend, for example, she was again with the sniffles. So I said, let's make a smoothie for you with pear, because she had a little cough as well. So I wanted to clear the mucus. So pear, cabbage, raw cabbage, some frozen cherries, like maybe 5 of them, and water. And it was so good. I put a little ginger in there and some lemon juice, and she just drank it all down, and she was like, wow, I feel better already. And I'm like, that's right, that's the power of food as medicine. So I'm already giving language to her like that. We already think about, I'm already trying to teach her the association. If you're having a symptom, let's do that. Let's take action. She had a little eczema crop up in her elbows 2 weeks ago, and I said, yeah, that makes sense to me. At her birthday, I let her, I wanted to see what happened myself. We had a pizza party, we had cake, it was all gluten and dairy, and like a week later, she started having eczema. So I said, okay, Ariana, we're gonna change the diet and see what happens. We're gonna take out gluten and dairy. She's like, okay. So it's not been a fight. She understands why it might have caused symptoms for her, and she's also now seen with completely removing those for the past 2 weeks. Her eczema is gone, and it's fantastic to sort of teach her that from the beginning, so it's not like a struggle. So yeah, I let her have some regular cheese. At home, no. So thank you, Erin. I'm so glad you're going to try the supplements. I really formulated them with love from my ovaries to yours. I really, and more like your endocrine system as a whole, but we just need a little extra help. And definitely make sure you email support@flowliving and, get those bonuses. Stella is asking, how long should you take these before getting pregnant? Oh, you should take these. This is a great thing to do to really boost the fertile ecosystem in the body and to really increase your endocrine function so that you become more optimally fertile. In fact, a lot of women struggle with secondary infertility after they're having their first child because of the massive amount of micronutrient depletion that takes place. So you're idiopathically infertile, meaning if you go for a test, there's nothing really wrong. Everything's in normal range. It should be fine. You have follicles. Sperm is good. If you have a husband, like everything's good. Why can't you get pregnant? Micronutrient deficiency. If you don't recover properly from your first pregnancy in the 4th trimester with like serious eating changes and supplementation, and of course, I haven't slept properly in 4 years. I don't know about these other moms, but I mean, that's a stress on the body. So micronutrient support is so critical to like really make yourself that juicy peach before you conceive again. Elia, smoothies during the luteal phase? I thought we were supposed to stay away from cold food. Depends on the kind of smoothie, Elia. You are absolutely right. But you can do a smoothie in the luteal phase that's like a cooked sweet potato, right? You could, if you already have a cooked sweet potato left over, you can do that with some ginger, with some almond butter, with some almond milk, some hemp seeds, cinnamon. So it's really a grounding, warming, you could even heat it up because it's not like you've got plants in there or green things. So you could do that if you wanted to. It just really depends on your level of health and well-being. That might not work for you in the luteal phase. But for those of you who are feeling like that does work, you can certainly do some smoothies depending on where you live and the time of year and that kind of thing. It's all that, and we talk a lot about this in Flow 28, the cycle syncing community, is it, unlike all these other diets that are based on the masculine biochemistry and also principles of like rigidity and linear kind of thinking, let's say binary thinking, yes, no, either or, this, not that, your cycle, your hormonal patterns, your beautifully transformative, changing, dynamic body does not at all jive with the binary thinking like, oh, this is a hard and fast rule. No, not at all. You might be in the middle of winter time, right? Let's say it's 3 months from now. It's like deep January. If you live in the northern hemisphere, it's gonna be freezing outside. You might not want to make a smoothie, but if it's like 65 degrees outside and you're in your luteal phase, you might want to have a cooked sweet potato smoothie, warming, if you're up for it, if that's working for you. It might not want to be for breakfast. Maybe it's for an afternoon snack as a sweet treat instead of cookies, right? It isn't about right or wrong. It's about compassionate listening and compassionate responding to your body, which is what I'm teaching my daughter, because I don't want her to have to figure this out when she's in her 20s, 30s, or 40s. I want her to just grow up having that like as a, like she would know how to read and write and add. I want her to be aware of her body from the beginning, and I want to help you learn how to build that practice, because I had to learn how to do it too. Nobody taught me. I didn't have me as a mom. And so the bridge is cycle syncing. The practice of cycle syncing heals you from that sort of like patriarchal conditioning of binary, like this is wrong and right, and it's more, let me be in practice, let me be responsive. What is happening now? I mean, for example, with my whole September shit show of stress, what do I need now, right? I abandoned all of my usual workouts and just got back to walking, right? You got to be real with yourself. So I love that you brought that up, because I always love an opportunity to help us as women break this conditioning of perfectionism. It is a plague upon our minds, because what do? If we believe in the cult of perfectionism, well, then of course we're never perfect. And then, as I forget who wrote this, but I never forgot reading it for the first time. There is no greater beating than the fine lashing of a woman's own tongue upon her mind. So in the cult of perfectionism, when you're never perfect, then of course you're always bad and never good enough, and you're stressing yourself out, and that internal stress doesn't help your hormones. So I just don't like to have it at all. So I'm very glad that you brought that up. Christine saying, what sleep? Stella saying, juicy peach. Yes, please, sister. Jaid, maca for regulating periods is not my favorite, but I think it can be really great in postpartum for a little bit of time if you're not breastfeeding, and I think it can be great as you enter your 40s, mid 40s. Do I apply anything topically? Yeah, I found a great cream by for the eczema by California Baby. They have a little eczema cream. It's colloidal oatmeal and just a whole bunch of other natural emollients, and that worked great between just cleaning out her gut, eliminating the obvious stuff, increasing plants. That's it. No big deal. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through. Katie, you're so wonderful. You're so welcome, and I'm so glad it's been wonderful for you. Katie, what a quote. Yeah. All right, ladies. Well, here we are. It's 2:00. I hope that you've understood your PMS from a different perspective, and that it's likely that you just need to prioritize yourself more. PMS, prioritizing myself. I want you to use it the way that, for example, I was teaching my daughter about her eczema, which is now gone, right? You just look at it like, oh, how interesting. Now what? What should I do? And one of the things you might want to do is pick up these supplements, because they're just, the micronutrients that are in here are just so well documented to help the endocrine system have the building blocks it needs. And if you do it in the next 24, 48 hours, or whatever the offer is, in the next 2 days, I think, and you email us at Support of Flow Living, you get the Banish Your PMS bonus package with all the free classes on your mood, on how to survive the holidays, the smoothie recipes, everything that I can help support you. It's just such my pleasure to do that. And Vlada, thank you so much for saying that the book has changed your life. I would love to hear your story. And for those of you who've read the book, please, I read every single review on the Amazon page. So please write a review so I can read some new reviews. And of course, please leave a review for other people who might be breezing by the Flow Living Facebook page. Please leave a review on the review section there about why you come back for the lives, and whatever comments you want to give. And then don't forget, there is an international shipping option. So just email support at Flow Living with international shipping request, and we will get you sorted out. So, all right, ladies. Yes, Marilena, another book is I am editing the manuscript as we speak. So it's coming. I'll keep, of course, my Flow sisters will be the first to know when this book is going to be out. So not to worry. As soon as I have a title and all of that, I'll let you know everything about it. I'm excited, nervous, but excited. It's always so vulnerable to put your ideas on paper for everybody to read, but I'm gonna just do it anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway. So thank you guys. Well, your support means so much to me. If knowing that it'll be you reading it makes me feel less worried about it. So anyway, thank you, ladies. I will be back next week, and we'll talk about something else fun and exciting around your hormones next time. And I hope that all of you are on your way to feeling better in your body with your hormones and on your way to getting rid of PMS this month or next month, all right? So thank you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.